Women across the Western world bemoan the horrific state of their gender, as well as the subjugation and oppression they must endure at the hands of the diabolical patriarchy, while demanding their right to dress and behave like tarts in slut walks from Toronto to Geneva. They are steadfast in their demand that whilst in various states of undress, they be treated with the same special snowflake status they have cultivated for themselves and become accustomed to whilst spamming Facebook with selfies so they may drink in the bliss of narcissistic likes they receive from other like-minded women. Wide swaths of women rail on of a non-existent rape culture that is perpetrated by the patriarchy-infused cultural subordination they must exist under, whilst at the same time overwhelmingly vote for importing real rape culture from the developing world. Many women go on endlessly about their rights individually, their rights collectively as a gender, and their right to steer the ship of society in a direction that suits their particular predilections. No taxation without representation. It's a slogan that originated in the decades that led up to the American Revolution and summarized a primary grievance of the American colonists in the 13 colonies. Thus, the right to vote and say which way a society should direct its priorities should be linked to the payment of taxation. Obviously, this is an antiquated idea, as there are many countries within the democratic West where you find large numbers of people that consume government largesse but pay nothing into the system. These people can come from a variety of backgrounds, from single mothers to real estate tycoons, disabled veterans, drug abusers, or unemployed workers that have given up on rejoining the workforce, to criminals that work in the black economy. And by black economy, I mean the part of a country's economic activity which is unrecorded and untaxed by the government. But there is one group of people that systematically and unreservedly parasites upon the public purse. There is one group of people that exist solely throughout their entire lives through the vampire-esque redistribution of wealth that takes place throughout the Western world, and that group is Western women. And by the Western world, I mean the developed world, which is entirely made up of Western countries with the exception of Japan, Hong Kong, and Singapore. While having slight differences, the societies from Sydney to New York and from Montreal to Berlin can be grouped together by their cultural, economic, and social similarities. And throughout this block of countries, one thing remains consistent. Women gain their rights from a government that is totally funded by men and the tax burden they shoulder. Let me put this another way. Women and their rights exist solely through the taxation of anonymous men that pay for them. A working paper from the Chair of Public Finance from the Victoria Business School at the University of Wellington published a 46-page study of the distribution of income and fiscal incidence by age and gender, and used New Zealand and its accumulated statistics in this area for their model. And what came out of this study pretty much blows out whatever any feminist has ever said and will ever say with regards to income, taxation, wage gaps, economic oppression, and the patriarchy that is supposedly suppressing them. First of all, in Figure 5, you can see that men are overall taxed more throughout their lives. In Figure 6, you can see that income support for women starts off around the same time that it does for men in childhood. It remains flat, however, through most of men's lives until public pension schemes kick in at around 65 years of age, while women's consumption of income support is much higher than men's between the ages of 15 to 64. For women, this partly reflects their lower workforce participation rate, higher rate of providing for dependents, and increased likelihood of being a sole parent. The male-female difference peaks during the child-rearing ages of 35 to 39 when women receive income support. That is, on average, 4.8 times that of the income support payments to men of the same age. But here is where it becomes clear as to why women, and I've said this in several videos, are overwhelmingly in favor of large government and ever-expanding social programs. In Figure 16, it shows that over the course of a woman's life, she only becomes a net taxpayer That is a person that pays more in terms of taxes than she receives in government assistance only in her 40s, while men do so in their early 20s. And for women, it only lasts 16 years until they reach 59 years of age. However, as can be seen in Figure 17, the positive net fiscal impact women make from the ages of 45 to 59 never outweighs the prior negative net fiscal impacts. Basically, women never cumulatively pay more taxes than they receive in terms of government expenditure. In fact, at the end of her life, the average woman consumes $150,000 more government expenditure than she pays in taxes. Men, on the other hand, cumulatively pay more in taxes than they receive for 40 years of their lives. And for taxes and public expenditures, the net fiscal incidence on men is approximately zero when aggregated over all ages. Overall, the research suggests that male taxpayers are the only ones ever to have positive contribution in taxes. Now, New Zealand is just as multicultural as the rest of the West. It too has people pouring in from all over the developing world. But as this study shows, and I would venture that its findings would be duplicated across the Western world with the possible exception of the US, as it lacks a single-payer health system, but still does have significant welfare programs, that there is one group, women, who throughout their lives are the net recipient of other people's money, namely anonymous male taxpayers that must fund and pay for women in the modern Western welfare state, an expanding state that women overwhelmingly vote for. So ladies, do you really want to smash the supposed patriarchy that's oppressing you while at the same time supporting you? If you like this video, please consider subscribing. The channel will be updated regularly, and follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and see our new website for lots of interesting material.